Hi there, my name is Laura and welcome to another video. If you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey related stuff, then you're in the right spot. So today we have our guest, Randy. Randy has been coaching and certifying riding instructors for over 25 years and is a horse industry legal consultant and expert witness and the founder of Jumping Instructors Network. Thank you so much, Randy, for taking the time to come with me here today.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to the adventure we'll share once again as we explore the possibilities of what those who have submitted their videos and photos. You want to explore the possibilities of what you can do to improve your riding position to take you to the next level of success.
Yes, exactly. So we are live. We'll take your comments and questions if you have any comments and questions. And right now, if you're here watching live, tell us where you're coming in from. And if it is your first time here, thank you so much for being here. It looks like Randy's left to do something. Now she's back. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for watching the replay and taking the time out to watch. We really appreciate it. Today, as we do Saturday morning, we will review rider positions from photographs that you have sent in. And if you would like to have your position reviewed or have some questions about your position or maybe one of your students' positions, please send me an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com, and we'll put it in our queue for our programs. We do have a lot of I did get a lot of people sending in photos and videos this week, so we're going to try to get through as many as we can. And if we didn't get to it today, we'll be sure to get to it next week. Right? Oh, yes, and I'm Laura Kelland-May, Equestrian Canada Senior Judge, Hunter, Jumper, Equitation, and Hack, a Senior Steward, and a Competition Coach Specialist. So we're here. We're going to help you, and I really appreciate you taking the big leap of sending in your images, your photos, your videos, because it does take a real, you're here because you want to improve, and we certainly appreciate that. Alrighty, we've got 2 comments. Awesome. Let's see who they're from. Mark. Hello, Mac. Oh, great. Hi, Mac. Oh, sorry, Randy, you're taking care of that. Hi, Total Eclipse. Thank you so much. Hi, Mackenzie. Thank you so much for being here. And Total Eclipse, excellent. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So, Randy, what do we got on tap today?
What are we what?
What do we have on tap today? I've got this picture here. I want you to talk about it a little bit. You got a minute to talk about it.
Oh, BZ Madden.
Okay, so rather than jumping right into the position reviews, we want to just take a minute here just to kind of show you where you have in your mind. Let's just see if I can do this. Okay, where you have in your mind where you think you should be going with your riding position. So we often ride in our own place with our own students, and we really should be thinking about where we want to go and what we want to achieve. So we want to put this mental picture in your brain of some of the things that you could be or should be working on with your own riding position. Hey, Randy, would you like to explain a little bit about this?
Well, first of all, those who may not know BZ yet, she's one of our leading international competitors in the show jumping world. I think she does hunters too, but this is show jumping at its finest. And the thing that most of us like about BZ so much is she's always been an example for everybody she's around because she's got almost perfect riding position. So what you'll notice with this picture is she looks at one with the horse. Now, for those of you who are just starting your riding career, you may not look like this for many years.
Or if ever.
If ever. I mean, this lady is easily riding, 8 horses a day. She's an Olympic rider. She takes lessons from Olympians, but she is a textbook example. This is the automatic release that she's doing, which again, you may never do, because there's other releases that you do before you get to the level of this rider. But this shows you that good function makes a great riding position, because the riding position was created as a way for riders to stay balanced as their horses were performing and doing things like, this is a big fence.
Yeah, I wonder how big that is.
I don't know, but it looks pretty wide.
Yeah, exactly. So, so just keep that position in mind. What you see here, maybe that's a 5-foot fence. Maybe it's bigger. I don't know. It looks pretty dang good, right?
Oh, and there's another point I'd like to make. And that
What's
is,
that?
so many people are wondering, they're taught, okay, we all know, well, you may not know, those of you who are new to the show, but the lower leg doesn't wrap all the way around the horse. You can see, this is such a perfect example. You can see that Beezy's inside calf muscle is on the horse, and it starts maybe 3 inches above her ankle. Can you see that on the inside there, Laura? So you can see that she's anchored into her lower leg by using the inside of her calf muscle. Her lower leg is stretching down and back. You come up
Yep.
to her knee, and it's not a tight knee. But what I like about this photo is it shows exactly how much thigh and where to use it in the jumping position. The thigh that we use for the jumping position is like 3 or 4 inches above the knee. Like when you're up in that position, you're not going to feel your upper thigh, but you will feel
Oh,
the
right. So here
bottom part, right? And
on
that's
the inside,
important.
I like where it shows that you ride off the inside part. So often,
Yes,
some of the pictures
right.
we get, they turn their toes out too much, and
Yes.
they get the back of their leg on the horse
Which
rather
is
than the
a
inside.
normal
So
part of the writing process. That's where everybody goes to get, well, let's be real. I'm never going to be at this level.
oh, come on.
No, no, not going to happen. But I mean, this is just amazing because you can see everything. She's springing. You can see
Yep.
every angle, her hip, her knees, and her ankle. All of those angles are springy. There's no tightness in her position that pops her out of the saddle.
Exactly right. So yeah, so keep that picture in mind of what it is that's happening there, and we're going to start in with our position reviews. Horse riding horse riding position reviews. What am I doing here? I want the photos. There we go. So you may see that we are looking into the camera, looking at you, and that we're looking down. It's just for me anyway. Probably same thing for you, Randy. Your camera's a little different place than your computer screen. So when I'm looking here, I'm looking at my computer screen and looking at the pictures. Let's go to this one. Okay, so this is Kaylee. Kaylee sent in several pictures, and I'd like to remind people that when you do send in your pictures, to send it in from the side. She sent in a lot of pictures, but unfortunately, we couldn't use them because they were sent in. This is 3/4 front view, which is difficult to see the leg position. So when you do send in your photos, please send it in from the side so we can see your body and your angles from your body to your leg to your lower leg and heel. This is difficult to see on this side. Oh, she's got her magnifying glass out.
Yep.
Let's see if I can make it a little bigger.
First, I love the expression, how happy she is on her horse. The horse looks happy too. I would say this is a posed photo that was taken for a photo, which changes
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
So as I'm looking from the head up to the bottom, what I like is, like I said, you can see that they like each other.
Yeah,
Which,
they're a team, aren't they? The horse looks very
yep,
kind and
yep.
quiet, and they are together.
They're together, and here she is standing, taking a photo, having a contact on the reins, and he's like, "Whatever, mom." Right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
the next one, Randy, is from the side a little bit better. And I'll just move to that one. And this one looks like she's in a horse show.
All right. Do you want to start, or should I start, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I like her composure in the show ring. I can see she spent some time in the saddle and showing her horse. I like how he's paying attention to her. You see how his ears are back?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, now what I'm seeing with the horse is that for a rider of this level, he's not moving as well as he could, and that's because of the little things she's doing with her riding position that we can change. First of all, I'm going to start from, I always like to start at the front of the horse.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at her hands, she's clearly pulling her reins down.
Right. So
It
yeah,
should be a
it looks
straight
like
line from
her.
elbow to the straight line from the elbow to the bit. Because she's got an elbow in there. I can see an
Oops.
elbow. So we've all done this. So what was her name again?
Kaylee.
Haley. We've all done this before. Originally, Laura and you were probably taught to this, Laura, the seesaw.
Oh yes. So
Oh
exact.
yeah.
Well, not. No, maybe I was told not to do it, but
Right.
it's sometimes it's really hard not to do it.
Well, we were taught to do head positions, but the
Yeah.
reality is with a rider of this level, and I'm saying that in a nice way, is if you just carry your hands level with your thumbs on top, you'll get the position you want from your horse's head by using your legs to get the horse to step up into your hand. Instead of using your hand to put its head down, you'll get him to step up from behind, which will also get him moving much better. All right, so now we're going to keep going up. I'm going to go up to the top of her head. Her helmet is not adjusted properly.
Right. So
It should be
we
down above her eyebrows.
we need to have. She's looking up, which is nice,
Yes,
but
very nice.
this if this is the angle of the helmet, you can
Yes.
see that there, right?
Doesn't protect your skull at that angle.
No, it should be just above her eyebrows. You can see that, and it should be this way.
Yes.
This way is good. This way
Is the dork look.
is not good.
Yeah, we call it the dork look. Not that you're a dork, it's just a way when you teach children and stuff. So this is a funny expression they use when teaching children. They say, hey, you've got the dork look on today.
So the helmet should go kind of like that, right? It should be the back of the helmet should come up more, and the peak of the helmet should be parallel to the ground.
Yes, the brim, the front of the helmet should be level. You can see it points up.
Yeah.
I like how she's carrying her upper body. Of course, that's put out of place just by what you're doing with your hands causes you to collapse and round your shoulders, so you know. All right, so let's go down further. She appears to have a good position with her seat there in the saddle.
Seat's in the middle, like it.
In the middle, her thighs, you can see her thighs have started rising, and that's a result of her standing in the stirrup. You can see her heels up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's where she's not sinking into her riding position from her lower body. And that shows because her heel's going up instead of down, gently down and back. So if she was in that correct position with her leg, you can see where her foot is there. It's pointing up.
Yeah.
By stretching it down and back. And that's just, you could bring your knee down or whatever you want to do to get that feeling of, because you don't have spring with this leg position. And again, let me rephrase this again. How many times do we have to say this, Laura? We've all had to do this. We've all gone through exactly what you're going through right now. So I like where she is right now and the possibilities of where she can go, because she looks like a rider who will dedicate herself to making the changes that she needs to do to go to the next level.
Excellent. I totally agree with everything that you're saying. I mean, there are some superficial things that you can see here. It looks like her thumbs are facing each other. She's got the classic piano hands, like you say. And so thumbs up, knuckles to the outside. But her body looks good. Looks like she may be holding her breath, or she may be holding some tension through her back.
Yeah.
And once you kind of let that go, take a breath and start breathing. And as you say, Randy, let the weight sink down into your sink right down past your seat, past your legs, down into your calf and heel, and that would help secure you into the saddle.
Yeah, because you can see she's resting on her pelvis there instead of into her lower leg.
Right. So if this person came to a clinic that you were giving, Randy, what exercises would you do?
Oh, we all like the same basic exercises, right?
Yeah.
So for me, a rider like this, it's just a matter of her becoming, I call it, aware. So she's got the basics, but she needs awareness training because I feel that this rider is able to understand the concepts, but may not be feeling it right. So I would go right to the rising, sitting, and the 2-point position at the trot. And it's like you'll start with more steps, like it might be 5 steps. So you're going to go, let's say, 2-point position, 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then posting trot, doesn't matter the diagonal, 1, 2, 3. Yep. And you feel it. But what you're going to find is in the rising trot, because this is probably what happens to you, is when you go up, you might be pushing yourself out of the saddle like a rocket ship. But the rise, when you're doing, yeah, that's right. They'll boing again. That's when you're standing in your stirrups.
Oh, right. So exactly. So they open up that knee angle, right?
Because
instead of right.
Everything should be springy. So when you go up into your 2-point, when you go up, you should feel like, can I spring all the way up? Then when you come down in the 2-point, this is where most of the riders, they just hit the back of their horses, the saddle with their rumps, right? It's because that part of the thigh we were talking about with BZ, the thigh muscle that's right above your knee.
Yep.
That's what will give you the security in the rising trot to be able to keep your balance as you go up and down. And then you add a little bit of the sitting trot. Again, with the sitting trot, if you can only sit 2 beats, that's all you need to do.
That's it. It's the changes. It's the changes that you need to do to help figure out where you need to be in that balance. So if this person came to a clinic that I was doing, then I love that exercise. I call that, for me, I call it the up, down exercise, where you stand in your stirrups for 2
Wait, what word did you just say?
Where you shift, where you go in your 2-point position. You don't stand in your stirrups.
Where you sink into your lower leg?
Sink into your lower leg and raise your seat out of the saddle
for 2.
We're
learning at the same time you guys are. We just
I guess you shouldn't say standing. I always have said standing, but you don't want to stand in your stirrups. You want to go in your 2-point for 2 beats.
Right.
By sinking the weight down into your calf.
Yes.
For 2 beats.
Into your lower leg.
And then down for 1. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down. And this really accentuates how you have to keep the weight sinking into your stirrups when you're doing your 2-point. And just shifting your weight back into the saddle for that 1 beat.
When you come down, right.
It's easy. I think it's an easier exercise to do the 4 up, 4 down, 4 up, 4 down.
Oh, yeah.
And also I like this up, down exercise because it makes the riders feel what is happening to them. Because so often when you do your posting trot, you go up, down, 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 and you don't feel what's happening. But if you start counting.
Can I stop you for just a minute here? Our reverse are going a little bit of direction.
Beep, 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 beep. So back up the bus.
We've got to use the right terminology here, and that's what Laura and I are working on, creating terminology that works for everybody ourselves. So it's not just you guys that are learning. So for me, when you say up, down, that's standing up in the stirrups, because
that's what most people. Exactly what happens is that they go up and down mechanically.
At the lower levels, but then it becomes what they need to understand is it's really not up down, because when you're using your posting position correctly, you're really rolling your pelvis slides forward and back.
Yep.
So it's more of a forward and a back than an up and down, but up and down is where everybody starts.
Exactly.
You might be an up downer right now, right?
Yeah.
Get to that point, you want to think it's not up and down, because that's standing in the stirrups, which is for beginners, which is fine.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of the
exactly.
I call it the up down exercise. They should be what would you call it? Sinking.
I don't know. We might have to come up with something.
To find a new term for that. If you got a good term for that, instead of standing, 2-point, 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 2-point sit, 2-point, 2-point sit.
Or something.
Something, right? Because it encourages the riders to feel exactly what's happening, because they just get in that mechanical state where they just do their rising trot.
That's right.
But by taking that away, they have to feel what's happening and let the horse push them up.
That's right.
Okay, we could debate that all day, Randy. Let's go on to the next rider here, okay?
Well, it's a great topic for them to hear us talk about. Because some people think
Sure.
those of us who have been doing this forever know something. But what you need to know is we never stop learning,
We
right?
never stop learning. That's right. Pardon me. All right. This is a little bit of a blurry photo. This is Erin. Trying to make it as big as I can here. That's as big as she's going to get for us. Erin says, thank you so much, Erin, for sending in this picture. Erin says, oh my goodness, your YouTube channel has been a godsend to me, and it's so very helpful. And admittedly, I feel better when I see that many of us make common mistakes. I'm a question mark year-old professor who has always had the dream of owning a horse and learning to jump. So if you would like to have your picture reviewed, or if you'd like us to take do a position review on your photo, please send us in a photo, thistleridge@hotmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And this is particularly exactly the type of people that we are aiming this at, people who would like to improve the riding. Maybe it's people who used to ride, they were children and had a career and family, and then started back up again. And this is Erin. I love this photograph. It's an adult person who has the dream of having a horse, and here she is cantering, trotting cross country over a beautiful log on a lovely horse. And this is a lovely, secure position. The first,
very nice.
First thing that came to my mind when I saw it, I said, wow, this rider is having such a lovely ride on a lovely horse. It's in great shape. She looks secure. She's
spent a lot of time learning this position. Years, for those of you who are wondering, years of experience has gone into this position.
This is like a picture perfect thing.
Yes, I like her seat just a little bit lower, but not much, maybe an inch, or just maybe an inch.
Yeah, she's kind of pivoting a little bit on her knee, but
remember that seatbelt, the seatbelt analogy?
Oh yeah.
So as I look at her here, this is so good. But to be even pickier, because that's why she volunteered to send her picture. She wants to improve even this, which is pretty good, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so her center of balance is ahead of her lower leg by just a couple inches. Yeah. So if you imagine having a seatbelt, I don't know how we can even explain this. This is a Susan Harris thing. So
I know how we can explain it.
Go ahead.
This is what it was kind of explained to me as, is that imagine that you are on the toilet and you have to reach forward to pick a magazine up off the ground, off the floor of the bathroom while you're in the on the toilet, and that you have to keep your bum on the toilet bowl. That is how one way explained it to me. So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Or imagine that there's a belt that's across your hips that goes to the back of your canto in a downward direction like this here. So if you go too high up, that seat belt will keep you from jumping out of the saddle. And again, this is so little, but it's just enough where if we look at your center of balance, it's ahead of your lower leg by barely a couple inches. But since you want us to get picky, if you could, you're jumping just a little bit ahead of your horse.
Yep. You want to think of squatting and sinking into the saddle.
Right. At that point. And this is the launch point, so that this is where most riders lose their position. She's pretty secure up there. She's just jumping a little bit ahead of her horse, and that means not a little bit.
Yep. Exactly.
Cute horse. That looks like a horse that any of us would like to ride. Of course, that's just from the picture.
So to help this rider, what would you explain to this rider? Any exercises that you would do for this rider?
Well, for this one, because of where her seat is, she really needs to become aware of when her seat is disconnecting from her lower leg. So she could practice that on the, let's see, seat from the lower leg. You could actually practice this on the ground by just standing, put your legs apart like you're riding a horse, and feel as you're in that position that you use for jumping, bring your shoulders forward and feel when you feel like you're going to fall forward.
Yeah, it shifts the weight onto your toes.
That's right.
You
And
want to make sure that you keep your weight over top of
over the
your
top of the,
center. And
over
if
the,
you lean
over the lower,
forward
you can feel
and
that
open
tipping
up
point.
that knee angle, you get onto your toes and you fall forward.
That's the tipping point.
That's the tipping point. So don't go past your tipping point.
And feel that first on the ground, like become aware of it. Try it on a chair. If you have a chair that's kind of like a horse, just put your legs flat on the floor. They have to stay flat. You might notice that you have a tendency to put your weight more on one side or the other. Keep your feet flat as you practice this. Or what we learned something yesterday was that if you have a 2x4, put that under your legs, under your feet, because that mimics even more the feeling of what the stirrup looks like. But your stirrup, your leg in your stirrup looks pretty good. This is just
Yeah.
watch for your tipping point.
Yeah, and if this person came in to a lesson with me, I think I would also continue to work on 2 point position and keeping one hand on your hip or put one hand up above your head so that you keep in balance with your horse and stretch the weight down into your lower leg. And if that gets to be too easy, start over trotting pose in your 2 point position so that you do accentuate the movement of the trot. If things get too easy, on the flat, put them on the trotting poles because that accentuates the way the horse moves, and you have to really use your knee and your hip and your ankle angles to absorb the shock of the trot, and this will help you keep your center over top of the horse's center. Easy exercises to do. So again, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, or if you have any comments, put them in the comments. We love to hear and see what comments are. All right, so next picture. Oh, this is her again. All righty, here we go. This is Alexis. Hi, love your channel. Would love a review of my jump position. I think this is Alexis. Let me just check. Is that Alexis? I'm not sure that it is. Nope, this is not Alexis. This is somebody else. Whoops. Alexis, you're going to be next. Okay, so again, if you're going to send in pictures, try to send it from the side. You see, this is kind of a 3/4 front view. So just try to send it in from the side so we can see your pictures from the side. Okay, Randy, what do you think about this? Lovely little rider.
Yes, I can see. Look at it. You can see she's a little nervous here. Not a lot, but what she's doing right now, she's at a stage of her riding where she's just now, well, I shouldn't say just now, she's coming into a point where she'll start being able to communicate more with the horse through her aids or to be able to train, as we call it. So at this point, what's happening is she's still trying to she's becoming more and more aware of where her riding position is and how to keep this horse consistent, because you can see the horse is watching her. So she was doing something coming up to the fence where the horse is wondering what she's doing, and as she comes up to the fence, she's doing what, how many riders do this, Laura? Like all of us in the beginning,
Of
right?
course.
Because she's not really aware of where her balance should be sinking into her lower leg and her foundation. She has put her weight in front of the horse. So if you look at her center of balance, it's in front of her leg. She is leaning on the neck instead of pushing away as much as I would like to see. And she's not, this is the takeoff phase.
Face.
So her
Yeah.
leg is going to slide back. I
Yeah.
like when she's got her leg in her lower leg in the foot position. See how she's got the stirrup on the correct part?
Yeah, I love it. It's good.
Yep.
She's in balance. She's not
She's in
interfering. I
balance.
love the little loopy
Right.
bit in the reins.
That's
It's
right.
great.
And she's just
Yeah.
launching right now, but in her launching, it clearly shows us that at wherever you are right now, which means nothing because we've all been there, done that, right? Is that you're standing in your stirrups instead of sinking down at this point. So at this point of takeoff, you should be sinking back like you have a seat belt that keeps you down lower in your seat because you have a little tendency to jump ahead of your horse. Been there, done that, right, Laura?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And with this horse, she's got a little bit of contact, but he might be a little hotter horse, because you can see he's kind of curled up on the rein a little bit. So that tells me that she's got a light rein.
It's sensitive.
Yeah, he's
Sensitive mouth or
sensitive
something. Yeah.
or whatever. But you can see, but what I like is his expression. He doesn't look nervous. He's just like, okay, what do you want me to do now? She cute. Looks like that's a pony club lapel on her left side.
Oh, maybe.
So she might be a pony clubber. Your stirrup leather is too long. So this might be a schooling saddle that you use, but
Oh,
that
you mean this part here?
flap, yeah, the flap, that flap, you need to tuck it under or something when you're competing so it looks neater because it should not be that long.
Yeah, it just
For
looks
look.
messy, eh?
Just looks messy. And just tuck it up. You can tuck it up underneath of itself or underneath of the
Yeah,
saddle, or if it's your
I fold it up underneath the saddle flap.
right. And if it's your saddle, just have it cut down.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, she's looking where she's going. You can see she's focused. I think, and because she's tipped over, that changes everything. It looks like she's trying to do a crest release, right?
Yeah, or I wish I could make it. Maybe take a look here, Randy. Does she have her fingers looped in the martingale strap?
It's so hard to tell. And if
Yeah,
she
it's hard to
is,
tell.
that's a
And
good
there's not that
thing.
there's anything wrong with that. That's
No,
great.
no, but she's pulling instead of pushing back.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you want to push the horse's neck away from you instead of pulling
exactly
back.
Right.
But you're exactly where you should be at this level, because when riders first start, they feel like they're leaning or pushing on the reins, right? I mean, they're balancing, and that's okay.
Yeah. So what I like about it is I've got the bit of benefit. I can see a little bit bigger picture here than you, Randy, because I can go right to what she sent in. As I like that there's no interference. She's really doing a great job to keep and stay with the horse at this moment in time while the horse is pushing off from the ground. You can see here that he's really pushing in there, and we'd like for her to continue to keep the weight down on your heels by kind of squatting in the saddle. I really like where you say about the seat belt, not to let the seat come out too far out of the saddle, because you can see here that her seat is over top of the pommel almost.
And that's when she's standing in her stirrups.
And we'd like to have her
slightly.
And we'd like to have her seat more over the center of the seat of the saddle rather than over the pommel of the saddle. And if you do open up that angle here, that's your knee angle from your hip to here. If you open that up, that's going to make you stand up in your stirrup, push the weight into your stirrups rather than.
Would you mind explaining? Because we're so used to using the word open up, but there's a lot of
so this is open.
What does that mean?
Okay, so if this is 90 degrees angle, right? This will be a more closed angle. And this is a more open angle.
Thank you. That's a great explanation, because some people don't understand what the angles even mean.
So here, this is your knee angle. It goes here to there. So that's pretty open. So we want to keep it closed. So this is a sharper angle here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you should stay in school and learn math.
No, I never learned math. Don't believe her. This is just a horseman.
Well, that's me. I've got a degree in engineering, so math is my thing. But so this is your knee angle. We like to keep your seat, and maybe that's a little bit exaggerated, but you want your seat down in the saddle more, so that you can close that knee angle so that you aren't standing up in the stirrups.
That's right. So you have the spring. Without the ankles, you don't have the spring that you need to follow a horse's movement.
Awesome. Okay, so quickly, Randy, if this, oh, wait a minute. Wait. I've got something more from this person. Before we go to that, she sent in a video, so maybe we could just watch the video here quickly.
Wait, let me get a magnifying glass.
I'm going to make it bigger.
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying to make it bigger.
Trying to make it
Oh,
bigger.
and she's done. I think there's some that she's a little closer to the camera. I just have to find it. It's so great to have pictures and video because we can, what we see in a picture is just happening, you know, right at that second. But when things are moving, we can see what's happening when the horse is moving. And it may not be the same of what's happening when you're just still. So this is great that we have this video.
Boy, she's a lovely rider, lovely horse. I like.
Got a nice seat, really. It's a nice following seat, right?
Nice, consistent pace. To see how she's a train. You can see she started training. So let's start that over again. So for a rider at this level, I'm going to go right to, if you don't mind, I'm going to. The first thing that I noticed, because it's all about horse and rider training, is your horse is really fussy in the mouth, and that's because of what you're doing with your hands. And it's hard to tell because you're so good at making it look like you're not doing anything with your hands.
I love her seat. Like she's just sticking right in there, huh?
Sticking right in there. But the horse is fussy with his front end. So that's where you're not following his bit as much as you think you are at this point in time, which is not a bad thing because this is lovely. Nice flying lead change. All right, let's see if we can get a closer up on her position. So we know she's doing something with her hands to cause the fussiness. She's using more hand than rein is the first thing. And this is being really picky because this is a beautiful rider and horse. Nice lead changes. See, there he gets fussy.
Yeah, he did.
Might be the spur. At that moment in time, you might be twisting your calf to be able to get your spur on. And that's where you should practice teaching your horse to move from your leg. As he
does a late change here, and I think he's just pissy about that.
Yes.
Her leg is a little loose there. Yeah.
Yep. A little bit loose. Now the other thing is this side. See, she has a tendency to put his head to the outside, which throws his balance off, and it throws you off as a rider. See this? How he's tipping to the inside? That's because he's bringing his head too far to the outside. If you want your horse to stay to the outside of the ring, it's the inside rein and leg that pushes them over to the outside rein and leg.
Think of like leg yielding out by pushing away from your outside inside leg out.
And we can say that to a rider of this level.
I'm hoping that she's been doing some leg yielding. You can see at the very end, you know, when she's
a nice rider. I would
I love the seat. Like the seat, she just needs a little bit.
Yep.
That was very nice.
Yep. Leg yielding.
This is where she here. Look, she's trying to push him out, and he's just not going out.
That's because she's just turning his head to the outside. His head should be to the inside and push him sideways. And a rider of this level can do this. There he was. What happened there is he just came out of balance. He was out
of the corner because he was counterbending.
And that threw him out of balance for approaching that jump. And there,
this is where like you can see that she's trying to push him out.
Yes, but not effective. So you have to work on that.
You know, it's like he's saying, you know what? I know where I'm going. We're going over to this next jump. Just hang on. We're gonna get there.
Whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut this corner off. Too bad. I know we're supposed to go to this jump here.
But wow, what a nice video to be able to watch.
Yeah, it's great.
This rider's gotten to the point where they actually, well, we couldn't see the others because they were photos, so we don't know what they look like. But this is a pretty picture.
So he chipped in there because he wasn't balanced around this corner.
I know, and people think it's the distance. It's not your distance.
If she was able to be more effective through this corner here,
Shut up. Because
it
this,
would have been, yeah, it
yep,
would have been,
yep. And
yeah,
it'd
it's not,
be, for a rider of this level, it'd be easy. Look at how, see,
I
she,
love the way she sits up
that's
and
right. And
yeah,
she sinks. Look at her sinking into her
yeah.
position. Look at, now
It's
after
got
she
to
did
be
that,
a little bit better
good.
with her hands. It just got to be a
Yeah.
little bit more softer and listening to the horse with her hands. Yeah.
And that's clear because we see the horse fussing with the reins. If he's fussing with your reins, you need less of a feel from your hands and to get him to step up into a better balance because he's got a nice consistent tempo. He could be a little bit more, what's the word, in balance for a
Yeah.
rider of your level. And that means when he's shaking his head, you should be asking him to step up into your hand a little bit more from the legs. At first, it might be a little surprising for you because you're going to feel a difference in his power and his balance, but that's what you're ready for. You're ready for that next level of balance with what you're doing with your riding. Nice job.
Yeah, it was good. Really good. Love the supple seat. So if this person came to me, the seat and leg look okay, a little bit loose on your lower leg. Again, I put you in the 2 point position, 2 point position over trot rails, and I try to get you more relaxed through your hands with the following hand by doing exercises in your 2 point or trot rails, lifting your hand up, or on the lunge line on a quiet, suitable horse to develop a little bit more independence of your upper body.
And I myself, I would go right into more lateral work with her because it looks like
Lateral work, yeah.
looks like she has a great trainer already. That's a good foundation she's got, to watch it from the video. I would ask your trainer to have you practice more of the leg yieldings, the shoulder in and that type of thing, because you're at the level. And you notice I keep saying that because Laura and I have been there, done that, and we're still learning. But you're at the level where you are able to control your horse's shoulders and back end. And at this time, you're not doing that as effectively as a rider of your level could do.
Yeah, just needs to get in there and really
do the work.
Get the discipline and do the work of pushing your horse over, start practicing, moving to the next level with your riding by being more disciplined and saying, you know what, I want him to move over. Let's work on doing some leg yielding today.
To get you off the legs too, so that he gets
and follow
with the mouth.
And follow through with it. Say, okay, I'm asking him, but he's not doing it. Well, if he's a school horse, maybe you really have to say, hey. But if you're with your trainer, I think it's time to move on to starting the lateral stuff, as you say, Randy, to make sure that your riding becomes more effective. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay, next one. Okay, so this
is... These are faraway pictures we have today.
I know. I was going to say, love you. This is Alexis Elizabeth. She says, hi, love your channel. Would love a review of my jump position. I'm a hunter rider and started over fences a year ago. So unfortunately, that's as big as it gets. So if you're going to send in pictures, please send them bigger because we can't really see anything. Looks great. Right?
Yep. All right. So as I'm looking at this rider, again,
she's standing up with her seat over the pommel, I think.
Yes, which has caused the horse to be a little flat in his jumping. But you know what I like about so many of these riders is she has really, you can see she's worked hard at getting this position. She thinks this position is where she should be, and that is not the fault of her trainer. This is just so typical, right? Of all the riders, most of the riders that we see.
Yeah, it's a good position.
Strong.
Strong, and there's no interference between her and the horse. The horse's mouth. She's off the horse's back.
That's right.
And she's not interfering with the mouth. She's staying with the horse.
That's right.
She's almost too much staying with the horse because she's ahead of the horse.
She's standing in her stirrups,
standing in her stirrups.
How many riders do that? All right.
And this point at the jump when the horse is pushing off like that, they should be sinking into the saddle.
That's right.
And if we took the horse away from this rider and just let the horse, grab the horse and pulled it from underneath her, would this rider stand on the ground in a balanced fashion.
Right. And
I think that this rider would tip forward because she's got too
forward.
much weight in front of her leg and really
She's probably leaning.
loading the horse's shoulders.
Yep. She's probably leaning on the. Some people. Let me rephrase the leaning. So when the crest release and the press all first came out, people thought that they should be leaning on the horse's neck, which is different than pushing the horse's neck away from you. So leaning on the horse's neck causes the rider, well, you can see she's straightened her legs, she's straightened out everything, she's locked all of her angles. And as a result, all she can do is flop over the front end because, well, where else are you going to go, right? And that's the point where she should be sinking back, where her seat is lower to the back of the saddle and she's sitting more upright. Can you draw angles on that one so they can
Yeah, I'll
see
try.
the angles? And again, you sent the photos in, you know we're going to be really picky. We're not being picky in a critical way. We're saying, well, this is where you are right now because we've been there, done that. Like every rider in the world, we all have to go through the basic stuff that you're going through right now. So there's nothing that you're doing wrong. You're just asking to go to the next level. I would say that your instructor should be, it could easily take you to the next level because she's installed, this is a good foundation
So
that you have.
this is the angles that she's got there
Yes,
approximately. And this is kind of like where we would like for her. If that's her shoulder, we'd
yes,
like for her bum to be the back.
yes,
More
yes,
like that.
yes. So that she can be over, because you can see she's not over her lower leg. She's tipped over the front,
Yeah, she's tipped over the front. Exactly.
like many riders
So
do it.
we would like for her shoulder, her bum to be over the center of the saddle, or
Yeah, she
and
needs
then
to
more
sit
this
back.
way.
She needs to sit down and back. Like,
Sink.
yeah, down and back into her seat. So her seat goes lower instead of her seat's going up over the neck and it should be over her lower leg. So she just needs, okay, so she's just locked somewhere, even though it doesn't look like it because she's an effective rider. The only way you get into this position is standing in your stirrups, which means is you're locking up somewhere in your riding position instead of remaining springy. The
And
only
you can tell if you're standing up in your stirrups. You can tell if you're standing up in your stirrups if your seat is over the pommel of the saddle.
right.
If your seat is over the pommel of the saddle, then you are probably um,
No, probably about
standing. No, probably about it.
standing in your stirrups are too long, probably.
And again, if what you know exercises for this rider.
Well, again, we'd go back to the awareness exercises. She needs to just become aware of her tipping point and sinking. So for her, because this is the launch, so everybody gets thrown off in the launch phase, right? That's just the way it is. But what's happening is she's launching way ahead of your horse. So you've got to play a waiting game with yourself when you're jumping. It might help you to close your, because your horse looks like you can do this. It's a safe, dependable horse, or so it appears, is to have your instructor be there with you, close your eyes and practice. Just, you can do, if the horse is safe enough, you can tie your reins in a knot and put it on the neck and just sit there and feel what the horse does. And you just become natural and don't change anything. Close your eyes, or half closed in the first few times until you feel safe, and just feel at what point do you stand up in your stirrups, which is close, opening your angles to the point where you can't be springy because you lose your springy. Feel where you lose your spring. It'll be when your head and shoulders come to a certain point, you'll say, this is the point where you start standing in your stirrups.
Now, contrast what that person was doing with the seat over the pommel of the saddle to this rider, Olympic level Denny
Over
Emerson over
a
cross country.
huge
Look,
fence
his seat is out of the saddle, but it's over
over his lower
the
leg
seat and
and over his lower leg.
over his lower leg. Exactly. Same with this one.
Again,
Same
they're
with
over.
that one. Look at
Yep.
this rider's seat. There's kind of squatting in the saddle. The weight is coming down.
And you notice their back pretty much matches the form of the horse's jump. The bascule is what they call that.
Yeah. So contrast that to this rider, and we all have to start somewhere, and
Well,
we
we did.
all We
We
all
did.
started somewhere. Just keep in mind that you want to keep your seat over the middle of the saddle. There. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing this photo, because
I
this is
was just going to say
perfect.
that. Thank you for
Yes,
sending in the photo. We would like to have the photos a little closer so we
right.
can see them better, and from the side. But generally speaking, that's a decent photo.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, what time are we? Oh my gosh, Randy, how do we get going? We're losing time. It's 10:20 already.
I know, but we enjoy making a difference for other people. So that's why we do this. We know it's not easy for them to share their photos and their videos, but they already know. People who are sending you their information, they've probably, more likely than not, hopefully have watched the show to realize that we are doing critiques, but we're doing critiques from a point of understanding, because we understand we've all had to go through everything you've gone through, and ready for this, we might have gone through even more than you have to be able to get to where we are. And it's,
Ah, a
we
lot of horses. I've been
a lot of
tossed off
horses,
a lot of horses. Learned a lot of trial and error
a
too.
lot of mistakes. And
Okay,
now we're
so
comfortable with making mistakes.
well, if you're not making a mistake, then you know what you're not really learning, are you?
Right. Yes, I
Okay.
mean, when you think, even maybe some of you that are watching this may not realize it, but when you consider that the Olympians who are riding full time, I mean, they're not just riding an hour a day, they're still taking lessons.
Yeah, they get coaching a lot. Okay, so we got one more rider here, and then I want to go over some of the comments. So we have questions from last time. Oh yes, somebody asked a lot of questions about walk trot classes. I wanted to get to that. Okay, am I sharing this one? No.
Not yet.
Now, after all what we said,
Stirrups are too
this
long.
this is a lovely photo.
What a
It's
nice
from the
horse.
side. It's from the side, so we can see her angles really lovely. And if you do send a photo, try to send in a bit larger, because unfortunately I can't make it any bigger than that. Just would be nicer to have a bigger photo that we can see. And I'm a little bit more of an advantage than Randy, because I've got the one that they sent here, and so she's sending a little bit. She's
And that's
looking at
why
a
I,
smaller one.
that's why I use this. I love color, horses of color. I admit it. Whoop. Close up of my head. Hi, everybody. Laura, you've taken yourself off the screen. There
There
you
we go.
go.
I was asking you to put your magnifying glass as you look at that.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is what it looks like when I'm looking really close. All right, so with this horse and rider, again, this is a lovely horse. There's no question about it. The rider, look at her eyes are looking forward. She's got her elbows are above the crest of the neck, which I like. But of course, because this is what we're going to notice right away, your stirrups are too long. And I say that because you're standing up in your
You're
stirrups.
standing up in your stirrups. So let's go here. Let's do the
Ever so
angles.
slightly, and we expect
This
more
is
from a
the angles,
rider.
right?
That's right. That's the angle. And for a rider of this level, you can change that so easily. It'll make you more effective. You're leaning. It's clear she's leaning on the neck, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, look at this. Your hands are way
Mhm.
up the neck. You are not interfering with the horse,
Yes.
but this is a little bit excessive. So we'd like to. This is your angle here. This is your
Mhm.
hip angle. We'd like for your
It's
hip
almost
angle
a
to be
straight line.
push your
Yep.
push your think of pushing yourself away from the horse's neck.
Yes. And sinking
And
into
what else did we
that.
say? We'd like to get a
Sinking.
helmet in here.
Yes, there should be a helmet of distance. For a fence of this size, you should be able to fit a helmet between your chest and the horse's neck.
So we'd like for open your hip angle, which means here, and bring your seat towards the seat of the saddle, more here. And then your stirrups should be a little shorter. then your elbows.
And the reason that we're asking for the shorter stirrup is because your leg almost looks straight as you're launching off the
Yep.
horse.
Here's your knee
And we know,
angle.
yep, we know that when they launch, we do weird things with our bodies, but there should be more of an angle in your knee so that
This is your knee. Yep.
you can have the spring that you need to be able to go to the next level for yourself. Because you can see she has worked hard to get this position. This is
I
not,
mean, her leg is good. She's got
yep,
when we started out,
especially with a long stirrup.
Yeah, we started out today talking about the Olympian BZ Madden and how she had her inside part of her leg against the horse. You can see this rider here, and I think it's as a result of having her stirrups a hole too long, is that she's gripping with the back of her calves.
Actually, she's got her heel digging into the horse too.
Exactly, back of her calf and her heel into the horse's side.
And
So
that
I
might
think,
be just this moment in time, so it may not be
yeah,
a bad thing. But you can see the angle her knee is too straight. So
yes,
that's
this angle is too straight.
sounds so simple. We
Droop.
know it sounds so simple. Just shorten your stirrups.
But to no, what, and also to sink the weight
so you have the spring.
Sink the weight down into your knee, down into your heel, sinking down. I like to say
Down and
squat
back.
in that.
Yep, down and back.
Squat into the saddle and keep this, because right now, if we took the horse away from you, from underneath this rider, this is Rowan. If we took the horse away, what would happen to this rider? Would she land in balance on her feet?
No.
Yay or nay?
Yep. Nope. And again, this is typical. There's nothing you're doing that we haven't all done or everybody else. So we're not saying anything negative. We're just saying with a rider of this ability, boy, the changes
It
she
would be,
made just by sinking into the saddle.
I think it would be a simple
Yes.
fix for this rider by
Yes.
opening up her hip angle.
Well, just sitting back in the saddle
and sinking back, keeping your seat over the middle of the saddle, shorten her stirrups up one hole.
and feel
And
that
would fix this.
Yep. And feeling the tipping point,
Exactly.
which we've covered in the other ones. So you can, I know you'll watch the whole show to see what we're doing.
What exercises could we do?
Well, it's the same, basically the same ones that we're doing with the other ones. She needs to find her tipping point because she's at the level where she can. You know, beginner riders, they're so busy learning how to control a horse and balancing their riding position, whatever that means for a beginner, because they're called kickers and steers. But she's at the level now where she has more, she's controlling this horse, which means she has control of her riding position. And she's at the level now where all she has to do is, you know, for her, all she has to do is when she's riding, check every step. Are you springing?
Yeah. Am I springing?
Am I springing?
Am I sinking down into the stirrups? As my weight coming into my heels? Do you have a little checklist?
Yes.
Easy exercise for this is, pardon me, trotting in 2-point position where you're sinking into the saddle, letting the weight come into your stirrups.
And feel your legs doing this here. So Laura, that's such a good point. Thank you for reminding me, because all of the big international riding schools that have like the top riders in the world, they all start their training sessions with 5 minutes of what's called a stretchy trot. And the rider stays in the 2-point position the whole time. And it'll take you, when you first try this, you might only make it for 2 minutes. But think, they're doing it every day for 5 minutes a day because it sinks them into their riding position and connects them with their horses. So that's a great exercise for this rider.
Yeah, just do the 2-point. And if you find that too easy, then make it harder by going over the trot rails.
Right.
And raised trot poles. And that will help encourage you to keep the weight sinking down into your heel and get the spring going, spring in your heels, spring in your knees, spring in your hips.
And feeling the
tipping point. Keep yourself in balance.
And feeling the tipping point.
And feeling your tipping point. Really, they're quite simple exercises to do. And if you have opportunity to have a practice ride, then this is a great exercise that you can practice without interfering with your horse as well. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're right out of time, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
This is awesome.
Mhm.
So I'd like to remind people, if you're here, great. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to improve your riding, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey related stuff, remember to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos coming out. I love doing this. If you want to have your own position review done, get a few exercises that you can do, send us an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com. Randy, any final words?
No, I just like to, I wanted to put Thistle Ridge up there so people could see it there. So my final words are, for those of you who are watching, that learning how to ride a horse, in the, you can ride them naturally, whatever that means. But those of us who are following this show are usually taking lessons or going through a process of educated training, and good things take time. I just want to remind you of that. Every time you're changing, for example, we've noticed as we're doing this, I'd say easily 90% of the riders we've seen are standing in their stirrups, right, Laura?
Totally.
So, and it's not a bad thing, just so you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just that you're now ready to learn how to sink into your saddle and to be able to follow the horse's movement, which you may not have done before, but that's part of the process. And you'll just keep getting better. I mean, more effective or whatever it is, because just when you think you've gone to the next level, you see another level. So it's like we stretch our imagination sideways, right?
Exactly. I mean, we just keep on growing, and you
Oh,
have to, sometimes you have to check off the box that you've completed a level, that you've got your good base of support before you go on to the next stage. But a lot of times it's you have your balance. Now you can move on to the next step. So there are levels that you really can develop and continue to grow. You just keep going.
that's right. And we're here to help support you in that process.
Love to help you. If you have any questions or comments about what we discussed today, please put it in the comments or send an email. Love to hear from you.
Yep.
Okay, Randy, what's your final words?
We'll see you on the other side of the fence.
And go use this stuff. Go hug your horse. Bye now. Oh, got a comment. Great show. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye now.